my own true love. But when I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that grieves my heart. The first inkling to it was something coming up in the feed, suggested videos. Obviously I'd already been using YouTube for purposes of finding truth in other areas and conspiracies and stuff, so I suppose it was a natural thing to suggest to a user as I was at the time.
And how long ago would you say that was?
It was before Christmas of 2015, I think sort of mid to late November is kind of when I remember first ever coming across it.
Yeah. And if you told any family and friends about it, how long did it take you to tell them?
Good question. Well, I've only actually ever spoke to one of my sisters about it. I've got another sister. I've not wanted to tell her because she's got young children, and I feel that should she embrace it and see what I see, it could affect a lot of things in her life. The fact that she's got 2 young children, going through the education system and about to be indoctrinated with all these lies, so yeah, I find it a bit difficult. Plus, we don't live local to each other, so it's a case of getting the right time. My other sister, who hasn't got young children, I told her over a Skype conversation, literally only a few months ago, this year, but
how did she take it?
Yeah, she wasn't she didn't shut it down or nothing, I told her part of my backstory, which she doesn't really know about, and where I've been going in my journey, part of my journey, and led up to the topic of the shape of the earth, and yeah, she was a little bit okay, and what about this? Well, asked me a few things and asked me to send some links, and I told her then that I had a channel on YouTube, which obviously none of my family knew about, and she said she was going to have a look at that. And, yeah, I haven't spoke to her properly for a while. I mean, we've communicated via text and stuff, but not a proper face-to-face conversation. So yeah, this visit I've made now up here, she's actually away on holiday abroad, so I was hoping to touch base with her and maybe see what kind of knock-on effect it had to her life, and whether it made any difference or whether she'd embraced it, because the conversation never ended where she said, oh yeah, thanks for that, I believe that, obviously she wanted to go and see things for herself. So.
All sounds very positive though.
Yeah, again, she works in the medical profession. She's got she works in the theatre in the hospital, works alongside consultants. So when I was building up to that, I touched on pharmaceuticals and doctors and this, that and the other, and she kind of got on the back foot a little bit and said, oh well, the people I work with who are putting people back together or removing tumour. And I said, well no, let's separate what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about those kind of people. I'm not talking about nurses who are working the front line. I'm not talking about the consultants who have got the ability to operate and fix bones, remove things that shouldn't be there, fix things that have gone wrong. That's different than the pharmaceutical industry and what's going on with that. So she kind of got that. She wants to define it a bit better, but she thought I had a problem with the NHS in general, so to speak. I don't have a problem, I'm just aware of what goes on with the pharmaceutical industry. So yeah.
So if you believe that we don't live on a magical spinning ball, what makes you so right?
Well, I've looked at a preponderance of proofs, evidence, whatever you want to call them, and then I've just took in my own observable reality a bit more and started looking at it from a more simplistic point of view, in terms of obviously I live near the coast, so I'm able to spend a lot of time there, looking at the horizon, watching ships disappear. Bought a camera to pull the ships back into view. I've seen the Isle of Wight from Brighton on a clear day. I haven't actually got video footage of it because I was in work and I didn't have my stuff with me, which I should never have seen, given the distance of about 50 miles away. I've stood at the bottom of Brighton Pier, looked across the Worthing Pier, which I know to be 10 miles away. And obviously, according to the spherical trigonometry, should have been behind 66 feet of water, but there wasn't the case. I could see the base of the pier, the shoreline and everything.
And if you didn't question at school, why do you think it is that you don't question at school the heliocentric model?
Well, I think we go to school, well, once we become aware at a certain age, we're on this preconceived idea that we're going there to learn and be taught, and just, to most people that translates to just accepting what they're told, I'm only a child, this adult's telling me this, he's wrote it on the blackboard, it's got to be right, I think as I got a bit older, in school I did question things, which led to me being considered disruptive or excluded from the classroom. And even when I think back, this concept of people being upside down in Australia never really sat with me, and I suppose I've even sat and thought about the idea of this ball spinning through this infinite space, all these directions and speeds. I found quite unnerving, to even think that was where we lived. It just didn't really sit with me, but I didn't spend the rest of my life pondering about it. You get on and move on, but them things, they just didn't sit right with me. I do remember sort of at least questioning them and thinking about them consciously at a younger age, I'm on about secondary school age now, it's more so.
Yeah. School in general, do you think it encourages your independent critical thinking?
Not really, no. I think it's just about people conforming to what, they're being told they need to conform to, dressing people up in a uniform, no individuality, people have got the same look about them, haven't they, and lining up, ringing the bell, everyone getting into the queue to go, it's all very regimented as well and uniformed, and I think the only things I could say that you could really maybe freely express yourself was maybe within the art class or something like this, or anything involving, mind you, even woodwork and stuff was always set projects. You had to make a set, make this stool, make this. It wasn't like, make what you want, you know what I mean? Same with metalwork. I mean, they were the kind of things that interested me more than the academic, maths and English and stuff. I had an interest in history, I always found things of old fascinating, you know what I mean? And obviously I've learnt a lot of things that have been jaded from what we were taught, not quite how they were presented in school and things hidden from us, but I certainly don't think it's in any way there to bring out the critical thought in people, you know what I mean?
So what would you say if I accused you of being brainwashed?
Well, yeah, I could say that, up to a certain point in my life, my brain probably was washed, but I like to think I've re-washed it myself and started my own journey of learning or relearning.
So how do you think they managed to keep this lie going for so long throughout history?
I think the harsh reality is that people are, you're caught up in this mindset of, you go to school, you do well, further education, college, university, wherever, if you want to reach a higher level of career, shall we say. Because you either had a job or you had a career. I think they're two different things. A job is like a guy driving a van, delivering parcels. A career is, something like, I don't know, a solicitor or, a doctor or...
some development as well, progress.
Yeah, it's something, you know, where you'd have a salary, not a wage, you know. Well, that to me, years ago, if you got paid weekly, you had a pretty normal job. You got paid monthly, you were salaried, and that kind of, that suggested something, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I wasn't brainwashed, but I think through my lack of interest in school compared to how some people embrace it, no desire to take exams, which I didn't do, I always questioned authority and wanted to know why it was that these certain people had some reign and rule over us, you know, who decided that. And I suppose, yeah, you know, didn't always conform where I would have been expected to, so I think to fast forward to where I am now, yeah, I'm not going to say I had some insight back then, but it, you know, the things I've learned, it doesn't surprise me how I used to feel when I was younger, you know what I mean, because now things make more sense. It's just like dotting the I's and crossing the T's for me, you know. But yeah, I think fundamentally people get caught up in the distractions of life and the expectations, you know, you go out, you meet a woman, you start a family, you've got jobs, mortgage, holiday, new car every 3 years, or let's have the latest TV, you know, oh look, this new shop, this new food, it's all, you know, I think it's all there to like, it's all there to keep us dumbed down, you know, is the expression I like to use. People just get caught up in the distractions of life, you know, to even contemplate anything outside the TV, newspaper, or their little bubble that they're in of going to work, coming back, family. You know, I've been there, you know, so I know what it's like.
I suppose that answers my next question, was why do you think people are so resistant to the thought of flat Earth?
I'm resistant to the thought of it.
Even entertaining it? Or
oh yeah, well, I mean, I think, again, just my opinion is like, I think people are afraid to change, people are afraid to come out what they see as their comfort zone, and anything that kind of is going to rock that boat, I think they find it hard to process, you know what I mean? I suppose when people don't want to believe what they would see as being the worst scenario, you know what I mean? But I don't see it as a worst scenario, I see it as like, well, of course I want to know the truth, you know what I mean? Of course I don't want to be lied to about many things, you know.
It's interesting, just like Carol was speaking to there, I mean, you can see that she didn't want to know the truth at one point, you know. Well, don't tell me. It's a comforting answer, isn't it?
Yeah. But again, you know, what they refer to as the cognitive dissonance. I mean, your lifetime beliefs being turned upside down after one conversation, you know. I think it's down to, I think it's all about the mind and how open you are as a person, and you know, yeah, I mean, you know, I've never been like totally blown away by things I've learned along the journey of truth. Yeah, I've been a little surprised here and there and raised an eyebrow, but when you sort of get down to it, like, you know, again, for me it's just all been about a puzzle coming together to make sense of things I've always kind of, I suppose, intuitively felt throughout my life at different points. And in the crux of raising a family, I suppose, I was focused elsewhere, so there was a period where, you know, I probably just conformed and went along with what everybody else kind of does, you know what I mean? And yeah, I consumed, and I had the desire for these things of status that you put around yourself and how you want to be seen by others, how you project yourself, you know. Everyone kind of wants to be measured by the success, you know. Well, what they see as success, which is all these materialistic things, which is not how I view things now. Success is however you want to see it, you know what I mean? If you live in a cardboard box and want to class yourself as successful in something, then why not, you know what I mean?
Suppose you might be successful in your contentment, or reach a level of success and happiness. Or,
and yeah, well, happiness is always whatever people's perception of happiness is, but that's got to be the objective. You know, no one wants to be unhappy. We all know what being unhappy is about. We've all experienced that in our lives, and it's an emotional state that is not good for us, is it? And we know that things that make us feel a certain way that we call happiness and laughter and, you know, being light-hearted within yourself is a good feeling, isn't it? You know, it's not something that you see as negative. So in whichever way it comes, my main aim would be to pursue happiness, you know, feel content with, regardless of what I've got or haven't got, you know, them things pale into significance now for me. It's not, as long as I've got a roof over my head to a degree, food to put in my belly, you know, a warm coat to put on my back when it's cold, one to stop the rain, you know, that's, I mean, keep it simple, keep it uncomplicated.
Absolutely. So Neil, do you think your thoughts are your own thoughts?
Well, I mean, my consciousness produces the thoughts, I suppose. Whether some of them come from outside influences. I mean, I'd like to think that certain things I think of are my own. It depends how far we're taking it, obviously, from the point of view of, say, writing a song. So if I put some lyrics down on paper, they're my own thoughts. Oh, I didn't invent the language that I wrote them in, but they're my thoughts. Okay, you could then say, well, hang on a minute, you know, you've had these thoughts that have prompted you to write these words have come from somewhere else, or could it be classed as something original? Or if I make a melody on a guitar, albeit the chords and notes have all been used before by other people in different ways, but is that not my original thought being expressed through a musical instrument? I don't know. I mean, I can't say, I think that is the case. It's kind of, I see it's like a...
It's an honest answer, I suppose.
Yes, and so I do like to cling on to the fact that maybe some of my thoughts are my own, you know, to a certain degree. But again, it depends how you present the definition of that, you know what I mean? So it could be either way. But that's probably how I'd sum it up. Like.
And can you have an original thought?
What, you mean like a eureka moment?
Thinking of something you can't think about.
That you can't think about?
No, thinking about something you don't know nothing about. Is that possible? And if it's not possible, then we're using old thoughts, or not.
So if it was to think about something I knew nothing about but had heard of, you mean?
No, you haven't even heard of it.
Oh, right, okay.
Is it possible to think of something completely new and original you know nothing about?
Well, I'm not going to say I've done that, but I suppose it is possible because through things that are like invented or things that have come about.
I think some people use...
you know, there was no concept of a camera at one time, but somebody had that thought through whatever that got him there. I don't know. Would you class that as someone making an original thought?
Well, I think that all stems from old thoughts, like it's a continuation.
Yeah, I suppose that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a difficult one.
It's like Sean made some soup last night. Now you threw all those vegetables in there. Now you could throw them in a different way. Use the same vegetables, but then maybe less, or not as many vegetables, and come out with a different flavour. But you still use the same old vegetable, same old thought to come up with a new soup.
I suppose then maybe everything we think about is
conditioned. Maybe.
And derives from something else that we've heard about, experienced, someone else's experience.
I'd agree with that. Right? Do you think people's thoughts could be manipulated en masse, like to get people to do something en masse, make them believe something to do it?
Well, I mean, media for a start, and advertising, marketing, you know, even going to one of the football stadiums on a Saturday afternoon, you know, that's people all programmed to act a certain way upon mass, isn't it? You know what I mean? Cheer when the team puts a goal in, boo when the team miss or the other team scores, you know what I mean?
And they would say they're not programmed. So how did you initially feel with yourself when you realised you've been lied to all your life about the shape of them?
I suppose it didn't actually faze me really, because it wasn't the first thing I'd ever discovered as being, you know, something I'd been lied about. I know people experience different things on this journey, but I think because of, you know, I've probably been pursuing conspiracies and truths for like 10 years, you know. My YouTube channel's 10 years old next February, so that's how long I've had my channel, which obviously I started using for the purpose of research and truth more than entertainment value, should we say. So yeah, it didn't knock me sideways. It did, but initially, but as time went on, and I suppose certain things were sinking in and I digested them, it brought about different feelings of emotion again. You know, I've been to low points with it, only when I've kind of, I suppose, focus on the bigger picture and more thinking about my children and their children and what kind of world they're going to be left to. Because naturally, for me personally as a parent, I see my role to protect my children, even though they're adults, but still protect them where and whenever possible, and to obviously send them out in the world armed with as much useful information and insights as possible as to the way things are, like, you know.
So is that the main reason why you care so much about the subject then, or is there other reasons why you care so much what shape the planet is?
Well, obviously, like, yeah, people often say, oh, what does it matter, you know. I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter fundamentally what, you know, it's only ever going to be what we perceive it to be, isn't it, in our own observable reality, unless we get shot up into space and can take a real look for ourselves, or someone produces something that's irrefutable to show us. So, regardless of the shape, in some respects it doesn't actually matter, but what concerns me is the deception behind it, you know what I mean? That's the point I always try to make to people, and then obviously they want to, oh well, what reason have they got to lie about this, why would they want to do it? And then, you know, that's just a massive can of worms to open up if you're speaking to someone who's got no idea of conspiracies and truth seeking and having being a free thinker and an open mind, you know, to all possibilities. Because you've then got to explain many things to them to even get them to that point of to make them to understand why the powers that be would put this deception upon us, you know.
You're jumping in the deep end, eh?
Well, yeah, you've got to be sensitive with some people, haven't you, because it can be too much.
Can you tell me 3 self-evident truths?
3 self-evident truths of what in particular?
Sorry?
Of what in particular, like?
Well, I'll give you one. Fire is hot.
You took one of my options now. Well, water's wet. Grass is green. Yeah. If that is green, in fact, what we see, you know, we're told it is.
I suppose objective truths, you know, self-evident truths that you can't argue about.
I mean, nothing to do with the shape of the world as such. Or,
yeah, anything.
Well, self-evident. I mean, it's from my experience, it's been self-evident. From my experience with any bodies of water, is it remains flat.
Water finds its level. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've flown several times. I was the kind of person who'd want the window seat. I was like looking out the window, and even before flat Earth introduction, you know, I mean, I've got plenty of photos from before that, and the horizon was always at eye level. It was something I noticed, and I think probably I've even at one point tried to look for a curve up there, but never seen it. You know, not since I've been aware of flat Earth, but before that. Yeah. Because it's just something that, due to the programming, you would expect to see at that kind of height, to a certain degree.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you know your own mind?
I think at 51 years of age, like, you know, I've been through various different things on my journey through life, so I think if I don't know my own mind now, then I've been doing something wrong, you know what I mean? So I'm quite confident to say that I know my strengths, my weaknesses, my good points, my bad points. I've identified with them, and you know, certainly anything that's I see negative within myself, I've always strived to display a better version of that, shall we say? So yeah, I think I do know my own mind pretty well.
Okay. What's a good question to ask to the people who believe in the ball earth, to make them really think what they think is true? If you only had one question to ask them, what would you say to stimulate their thinking?
Yeah, it's a bit of a... I'm just thinking about the different types of people you could pose a question to. It's more about thinking it's something that would resonate with them, which is quite difficult, I suppose, because I don't want to just say the obvious, which would probably be something regarding water, you know what I mean, to provoke some thought initially. Maybe, you know, about the ships allegedly disappearing over the horizon, and using your peripheral vision as an example of not seeing a curve, which would probably be a greater distance than what you could see straight out in front. Maybe try and tell them of my own experience of filming this, or maybe show them, you know what I mean, but I don't know, there's nothing much. Or maybe something to do with aviation and actually flying, or flown, you know, in the sense of, you know, you felt yourself dipping down, pointing down, or, you know, asking them the obvious, you know. From my experience of flying, you sit level and horizontal once you're up at the desired altitude, and apart from climbing up there or taking off, you know, everything's flat. So yeah, I'd probably plump with the water, something water related, like.
Last question: what is reality?
I think it can only ever be subjective for me. I mean, it's whatever you perceive reality to be. I mean, we can create our own reality in our head, can't we? You know what I mean? And shut out what we see as negative from our reality, and insert what we see as positive. And I think there's probably many factors that could possibly affect what you see as your reality, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't think there's any one defined way of saying what reality is for everybody. I think it's going to be an individual thing.
Okay, man, that's great. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, John. Pleasure.